Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you've spent hours, maybe even days, just manually clicking through the Azure portal. You're provisioning compute, setting up networking, configuring storage, all that stuff, just to get a Kubernetes cluster ready.
Oh, yeah. And then you try to replicate it maybe for a different environment,
Mm-hmm.
or you try and hand it off to a teammate.
And it all just breaks.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's that frustrating, error-prone loop. That's precisely what we're going to break today. We're diving deep into Azure Bicep and ARM templates. We want to focus on how these tools really change the game for infrastructure setup, especially, if you're just getting started with Kubernetes.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is how these tools take that manual process, which can be, well, frankly, painful,
Right.
and turn it into something automated, consistent, and just way less prone to errors.
Yeah.
For you listening, this is really about transforming those complex manual setups into maybe a shortcut to mastering your infrastructure.
Shortcut sounds good.
Well, think about this. Some teams using Bicep, they've reported cutting their infrastructure setup time by like over 60%.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah. And that's not just, a number on a slide. It's actual days, sometimes weeks, that you get back for development. It shifts your focus from how do I build this thing to, okay, what cool new thing can I build next?
That's a massive impact. It's not just the speed, though, is it? It's also reliability, because configuring an Azure Kubernetes Service Cluster, AKS, manually, getting all those little pieces right,
It's tricky.
it's not only time-consuming, but it's just begging for tiny, hard-to-find errors. And who wants to spend their Friday night debugging a missing comma somewhere?
Exactly. Nobody. And this is where infrastructure as code, or IAC, really shines. If we sort of look the bigger picture, ARM templates are the robust foundation. They're JSON-based.
Okay.
Think of them like declarative blueprints. They define exactly what Azure resources you need.
Yeah.
Networks, databases, AKS clusters, you name it. They are super powerful, but let's be honest,
Yeah.
for a beginner, that JSON syntax can be pretty verbose, a bit complex.
Right. I've seen some ARM templates. They can get long. And that's where Azure Bicep comes in then. Sounds like it tries to smooth that out.
Precisely, yeah. Azure Bicep is this simplified, more modern language. And the key thing is it compiles to ARM templates.
Oh, okay. So it's not replacing them entirely.
Not at all. It's like having all the underlying power of ARM, but with a syntax that's just way more readable, much more beginner-friendly. Plus, you get fantastic tooling support, like in Visual Studio Code, that actually catches errors before you even try to deploy.
That's huge.
Yeah. So imagine like writing a pretty concise Bicep file. You want to provision an AKS cluster, maybe give it a managed identity, which is, the secure way for your cluster to talk to other Azure stuff without passwords.
Right. Important for security.
Definitely. And maybe add an Azure Container Registry for your Docker images. You can define all that and then deploy it with just one Azure CLI command. Compare that to wrestling with pages and pages of dense JSON. It really takes away that fear of the misplaced bracket ruining your day.
That's a fantastic way to put it. It really clarifies how Bicep is making things easier on top of what ARM already does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get the what and the how, but let's talk now what for someone listening. When should you pick Bicep or maybe stick with ARM?
Good question. So for beginners, especially if you're starting new Kubernetes projects and you want simpler, more readable code,
Yeah.
Bicep is absolutely your go-to. It just makes defining complex things like AKS clusters much more approachable.
Okay, new projects Bicep.
Generally, yeah. But, if you jump into an existing project and they already have established workflows built around ARM templates, well, you're still going to see them and you'll need to work with them.
Makes sense. You work with what's there.
Exactly. And the really nice thing is you can combine them. You might have an older ARM template for some core bits of infrastructure and then use Bicep for newer components or for updates. They can coexist.
And the real power boost comes when you plug these into your whole development process, right? Like CI/CD pipelines.
Absolutely. We're talking seamless integration into CI/CD. Your continuous integration, continuous deployment processes. You use Git for version control, just like your application code.
Which isn't just about saving files.
No. It means you can track every change to your infrastructure. You can roll back your entire infrastructure setup to a previous working state using Git commands. Think about that for handling incidents. It's a total game changer. You can automate everything, from spinning up the AKS cluster itself to deploying your web app using tools like Helm.
So how do you get started effectively? What are the key things to keep in mind?
Right, good point. One big thing is modularity. Don't just write one massive Bicep file for everything.
Break it down.
Yeah, break it down into smaller reusable pieces, like building blocks, maybe a networking module, a compute module, maybe one for data instances. This makes everything easier to manage, easier to test, and you can share these blocks across different projects. It really cuts down the
That
complexity.
goes for infrastructure.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously prioritize security. Use Azure RBAC role-based access control properly. Make sure only the right people or services can actually change your infrastructure. Validation and documentation are also, your best friends here.
So ultimately, Azure Bicep and ARM templates make this whole infrastructure as code thing for Kubernetes really powerful, but also crucially accessible. They help you build, manage, and scale your AKS clusters with confidence and consistency. Takes away that frustrating manual setup we talked about.
Exactly. It becomes a strategic advantage. But, the real power, it isn't just the automation itself. It's what that automation frees you to do. Think about it. When you have a truly automated, reliable infrastructure, you can innovate so much faster on the actual applications running on Kubernetes. It fundamentally shifts your focus. You're not constantly wrestling with how do I build this plumbing. You're thinking, okay, the plumbing works. What cool new solutions could I build next?